speaking on behalf of the Movement for People's Councils. We have particularly called this press today to talk about the EPF robbery, and we use the word robbery, which is about to happen on the 28th of this month, when the central bank will decide whether it wants to accept uh, the, the the domestic debt restructuring on these EPF and ETF accounts of the Sri Lankan people. So why is this 28th August day important? You recall, on the 1st of July of this year, the Parliament passed a resolution going against what it has, the government put a proposal to Parliament going against what it has promised people before, that we will not be subjected to domestic debt restructuring, and in any case, the superannuation funds or the social security funds of people will not be touched. And Parliament took a decision that they are going to restructure the domestic debt by reducing or by cutting the revenue which will come to the EPF and ETF funds. They said that 0.5% equivalent worth of money of the GDP will be deducted from the EPF revenue up until 2038, and that will be used. That kind of package will be used for the domestic debt restructuring. Now, while that is ongoing, while economists are warning us that if this package goes through, people who would be retiring in another 16 years' time, their EPF revenue would, their EPF savings would be cut into nearly 50% or more. While economists have been warning us, the central bank is now confusing people some more by promising that they would guarantee this 9% interest on the EPF savings. Economists tell us that if the central bank in fact is going to pay this 9% interest, then this will not only affect the revenue of the EPF accounts and ETF accounts, but will also start impacting, eroding the capital, and thereby completely completely destroying the EPF and ETF funds, which is owned, which central bank is managing, but it belongs to the workers, 2.5 million account holders who are active workers in Sri Lanka. Now, there's also an Inland Revenue Amendment Bill, and it's very interesting. They're saying that now they're going to charge 30% interest on this EPF and ETF account, and unless, of course, the central bank decides that they are going to subject the EPF and ETF accounts to this domestic debt restructuring. And if the EPF and ETF account goes through this domestic debt restructuring package, that is the reduction of 0.5% of GDP every year, then after the deduction in the EPF revenue, they are going to charge another 14% interest on the deducted revenue. So you can see the EPF and ETF, people who pay EPF and ETF, more than 500,000 of these members, they don't even fall into the pay tax category because they earn between 20,000 to 40,000 rupees. So they don't even pay taxes while they are employed, while they are working. They don't even pay taxes because they don't fall into the tax bracket. And this is the population on which the central bank is proposing, or the government is proposing, to impose a 30% tax, or cutting the revenue, cutting the saving by nearly 50%, imposing a 30% tax on a population which does not even pay taxes while they are earning. So this Inland Revenue Bill, which has been passed by the government, which has been introduced by the government, on the face of it, is unconstitutional, and it is a crime which is being committed on the Sri Lankan people. The 9% interest which the central bank is promising is a lie, because they can't pay this 9% interest. And the domestic debt restructuring, the 0.5% of GDP, which the government is now saying it's going to deduct from the EPF and ETF account, is going to erode the EPF savings of people so much so that nearly 50% of their savings will be erased at the time they try to recover their or withdraw the EPF and ETF savings. Therefore, this robbery is being committed on the people of Sri Lanka, and we call it robbery because despite all of this happening, if you go before the central bank and protest, they will put the military, they will put the police, they'll use guns on us and stop this protest from happening, which is what has been happening in the last since the fall of the Aragalaya. So we as trade unions, civil society organization, and interested political parties are calling a protest on the 28th of August, when the central bank will be giving an undertaking that they will go ahead with this domestic debt restructuring plan, which is, in fact, the central bank only created this plan, and then they are going to give an undertaking that they will accept it. So we are completely opposed to it. And we are gathering in front of the Fort Railway Station at 12 o'clock to oppose this robbery, EPF robbery, which the government is going to do, is going to commit on the working population of Sri Lanka. And we call everyone to come to Fort Railway Station at 12 o'clock on the 28th to show your opposition, whether you have an EPF account or not. Because this domestic debt restructuring, despite the fact that it is Ranil Wickremesinghe who has been pushing for it, it is coming under this IMF extended fund facility. It is being pushed by international creditors who are holding Sri Lankan people on ransom and saying, if you do not make a cut on your domestic debt, we will refuse to give a haircut on the international debt, despite the fact that the international debt is taken in dollars while the domestic debt is in rupees. So this Sri Lanka is currently being governed by these three international debtors, international creditors, the IMF, and their puppet Ranil Wickremesinghe. And this evil axis is what is ruling Sri Lanka today. It's not a democratically mandated government or a democratically mandated president. These three institutions which are not accountable to the people of Sri Lanka are today governing Sri Lanka. And we see that the cost of living has gone up. Inflation went up last year, and people are still reeling from that shock. Electricity prices have gone up so much so that so many houses do not have electricity anymore. Water bill is going to go up so much so that now people will stop having running water in their house. Children are no longer going to school because they can't afford transport any longer. So this is what we're seeing right now. A crime, a financial crime, a social crime, an economic crime is being committed on the Sri Lankan people by this evil axis. And we call everyone, whether you are recipient of EPF, ETF or not, to come onto the street and protest what has been happening to Sri Lanka since we accepted this IMF extended fund facility.